Hello and welcome to Sorare Sunday for the week of the 4th of November to the 10th of November. And let's get started with what happened this week. Okay, so let's jump into the Pro League and see how we did this week. It was another fairly okay week for getting boxes. We will start from the 1st to the 5th. We got 10 boxes. Most of them are kind of a nice mix of 2 to 1 stars, but nothing too amazing. We were really close. I think it was one of the Premier League. We were close to making some money, and then the last 2 games pushed us down below that line in the rewards, so we didn't quite get there. Nearly made it with this team in the Cap 260. With goals from Sasaki and Larson, but not quite. I think I would have made it if I'd have played a different midfielder than Van den Boomen. He's a weird one. He doesn't play every week for Ajax, but when he does, he plays well. So I'm not sure what the deal is there with him. I might need to do a little bit more research. The annoying thing is, oh no, wait, I don't. Did it have to be all in season? I was going to say if I'd played Bobzine there, we would have got quite high in that league. I think he got 2 goals. So, but you know, what could have been? Hey, and then we had the 1-1 with Leicester for Ipswich. Obviously, I played Calvin Phillips and he got a red card, so we didn't get anything there. This was the team which I nearly got a little bit. It had like a fiver. And a box, and then the games that happened after pushed it down just a little bit lower. But we did fairly well. 117 for Chris Wood and 86 for Elliot Anderson. Nottingham Forest are doing amazing at the moment in the Premier League. So not a team which people really saw lighting up the Premier League this season, but it's cool to see. I like that there's someone challenging the top 4 who's not like the usual lot, you know. We also had Solanke and Semenyo getting on the score sheet, and Matt Sells, the Nottingham Forest keeper, getting a really good clean sheet and playing well. So I actually watched the game. He played really well. So overall, we got 1-star box for that as well. Got in the top 25%. Everywhere else, we just kind of middling. Not a lot going on there. We got Kelleher because Allison is out injured, so we're now getting another keeper's sort of score. So we've got more teams that have got like a full team, and Jose Sarr has started playing instead of Johnston. So we've got a few Premier League keepers which are working. This team, as you can see, did nothing. My La Liga teams really suck. I think the La Liga teams, unless you have players which are worth a lot, like Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, Bellingham, Yamal, there's that other Gavi, I think, for Barca, Lewandowski. Like the Real Madrid and Barca players, unless you've got the really expensive ones. Oh, and Atletico players, you're not going to really be challenging. And I think that quite a few people have those players that invested the money into it. But we did all right with this one. With Molina, he's a fairly good player actually. He also plays international, so he's a fairly decent scorer, a point scorer in Sorare. And then Manu Morlanes doesn't always play, so he's a really tricky one. And the same with Cardona. When he does play, he plays well, but they just didn't play him. So there's obviously quite a heavy rotation in La Liga. But yeah, we got 1-star box from there. Going down, we did fairly well in the Champions in season. Like I said, Johnston doesn't play, so even though I played him in this team, Vlasic getting 83 and Bednarek getting 70 seems to be enough to have pushed us to get 1-star box. And then Norgard getting an assist and everyone else getting kind of like, kind of the mid-range, like 40s to 50s points, got us a 2-star box there. So that's what I like about in-season. The competition's a lot less. So you don't have to get as an amazing score to get something from it each week. Harry Wilson, I watched this game as well. I think it was the Monday night game, Fulham Brentford, and he scored two last minute. They were like, I think they were both in extra time, or it might have been a little bit before extra time actually. But I've got to remember all the way back to a week ago nearly. So, but that both got one goal was like a little flick. It came across and he flicked it on the outside of his boot as it was coming across into the top corner. It kind of like lofted over the keeper. It was like, look it up. It was an amazing goal. But Harry Wilson, I don't know why he doesn't start for Fulham. It's a weird one. He's scoring all the time, and he plays for Wales and scores all the time as well. He's a decent player. Nothing more on the non-in season because the competition's a bit more. So you need to get a bit higher scores in general. In Challenger, we got two-star boxes. My kind of Fortuna Sittard team. I just don't have a striker that I can regularly play. Did really well with Branderhorst getting 75, Adewey at 89, and then I think last week my suggested card, Rossier, got 2 goals. So my player to watch is still performing, sort of thing. Although he might have already got those 2 goals when I put him as my player to watch. So when was that? I think he'd already got them, but still, my point is right. My AZ team is they played Feyenoord, which is a hard game for them in the league, and it did not do well. But this team did fairly well with Yao Silva getting 118 while being captained, and my keeper Bayezid, I think he plays in Turkey, getting a clean sheet, so getting a 78. So we did all right there. And we're just going to kind of shoot through some of this rest. Another couple of players who did well. De Kersmaker got 2 goals. The only problem is he plays for a team which I think are looking very close to relegation or going to be struggling to stay out of that zone anyway. So, like, do you invest in someone who probably next year won't be playing in the Eredivisie and then probably won't be scored? It's a tricky one. He might even be brought up if they do get relegated, but there's a chance that he'll stay with them to try and get them back up. So, not sure what's is going on there. I mean, they might not get relegated. Last I checked, they weren't doing too well, but that was a few weeks ago. So maybe they're moving on up. Seeing as they did win 2-0 there, maybe they're starting to pull themselves back up the table. Ronivaldo got himself an assist. He's just consistently scoring all the time, but we didn't manage to get anything in our contender, which was a bit interesting. We usually get more here than we do in the other leagues, but it's kind of reverse of what we usually have happen. We got 1 contender out of a classic out of season 1. Suzuki scored a goal, and Park Ji-so scored a goal, which gave us enough score to make us safe, not even promoted. And we got a 1-star box. But this team, I mean, 2 players who didn't play, we got relegated, so we're now down a league. Under 23s, we got 1 box. Skeskel, I think is how you say it. Playing really well, keep getting a clean sheet, and everyone else doing okay. I think Banzuzi only got 75 because we captained him, so he'd probably be around about the 60s if we hadn't captained him. But, you know, we got a 1-star box in top 6%, not too bad. And now we're going to move on to the midweek, which was the Champions League and Europa League and Conference League. And we don't really... I struggle because we don't really have a team for this. As you can see, we got the Liverpool keeper, Keller, did well, but then the rest of the team did okay. I got Renato Sanchez, and he started to play again, so he might be... And Nusa played okay, but not fantastic. Actually, that's quite a shock result, I think. Celtic beating Leipzig. But Klosterman doesn't always play. Fatty doesn't always play. Woltmade doesn't even play. Walker I think is injured or coming back from an injury, and then we've got Ronaldo and Ezekiel, and Ezekiel doesn't always play either. So it's kind of like a real mixed bag of players which you can put them in, but chances are you might not get any points. We have the same problem down here for our All-Star special. We've got a load of players who they might play, they might not. Solanke did well, got a goal. Gabriel Sarr got 103, so he did really well. But then everyone else did just okay. And you need 28,000 people in the competition. You need to get a really high score to do anything. So that just was a nothing. Nothing was happening. But what we did do was get a under 23s win, enough to get a tier 4 card and a 3-star box. So we got Troy Parrott getting an assist, Denzo Cassius getting a goal. We did it wasn't like a full RZ team, it was Ajax and Aston Villa as well. So but the keeper we got from 2 weeks ago when we did the Essence, getting a save and an 87 against Fenerbahce, and Kenneth Taylor getting, I think, is that 2 goals or is that a goal and assist, 108. So overall, a really good week for this team. The only team player which didn't do great was John Duran. Usually scores when he comes off the bench, so I was like, I'll give him a punt. And the tier 4 card that I got, we're just going to switch that to that really quickly now. The tier 4 card was Chris Kevin Nagy for Feyenoord. And he's a 22-year-old midfielder. Côte d'Ivoire is his country. It doesn't look like he plays for his country yet. He is young, 22, so that's probably why. But he also doesn't seem to play for his team that much at the moment. He comes on as a sub, sits on the bench, or doesn't play at all. So an okay card to win, but nothing amazing. Nothing like that. I'm like, oh, that's so good, sort of thing. So, but free card, can't complain. We won something, so that's fairly good. All right, so that was the Pro League for last week. We're just gonna have a quick look at rivals because we got relegated to Division 4. We're now sitting kind of mid-table in Division 4, and we've won a couple. Where we've done okay. I think Division 4 is just much easier to get some wins here and there. You'll sometimes have some bad weeks and lose a fair few, but overall, Division 4 is much more my speed. So I think I'm not feeling the love for rivals at the moment, so I'm just gonna sit in Division 4 for a bit. I'll still play it on and off and see if I kind of get interested in it again, but we're moving into the international break. That sometimes makes me a bit more like, because you can watch a lot more of the games, I'm a little bit more like, okay, I'll watch the games and I'll put my rivals teams in so I can see how that goes. So maybe this time, maybe I'll get a bit more into it this time, sort of thing. But for the last few weeks, I've been a bit turned off by rivals, not really that interested. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're still enjoying rivals. I mean, they've nerfed the boxes as well, so you don't get as much rewards, which does make it hard to enjoy rivals sometimes, doesn't it? When you know you're not going to get as much. But now we're going to move on to what's happening next week. All right, we're going to do a really quick review of next week. So this weekend, currently, we're looking on track to get 10, but like I said before, like you can be on track to get money and boxes, and then one game happens and you get moved out. So we're not going to count our chickens before they've hatched. Is that this expression? I think it might be. If not, sorry. I've got it wrong. But there's a few teams here which have still yet to play. So there's a few areas which will probably, I think our Premier League, we've got a full Ipswich team is still yet to play. We've got Nottingham Forest who's still yet to play, and they've been scoring well. We've got Man United who's still yet to play. So yeah, there's a lot of teams in here just for me, and Tottenham, who will be getting us some sort of score, you'd think. So the ones which I do have rewards for, chances are that's going to change anyway because of the new scores that are coming in. But yeah, so Premier League we're looking like we might do all right. Depends on how each team does. La Liga we're just going to do awful. So many people didn't play or had no games. We do have a box in the middle though. I would be surprised if that stays because we have two players who didn't play for Real Valenciano, I think it is. So yeah, they'll. I wouldn't be surprised if that disappears from our rewards. Champions is Champion League is the same deal as the Premier League. We've got a lot of games left to play, so probably hard to tell. But we've got some high scores already. Heuber getting 95. Actually, that was the only high score. We've got some okay scores, in the 50s. So if the rest of this one I think is gone because Bailey didn't play. Walton I don't think will play. And then it's just up to these two. So they're going to have to do very well in order to get us some rewards on that one. Challenger, we have, again, like full teams who haven't played yet. So hard to tell. But, AZ played fairly well in the week. But will they have the, the European hangover sort of thing where after you played a European game, you lose in the league? So potentially they might not do too well. And Yao Silva, who usually is such a consistent scorer, only got 25 this week. So it shows that sometimes the consistent guys, they're not always as consistent as you think they are. Although Marco Renente came back, so he's had a few games where he's been, I'm not going to bother going on it, but he's had a few games where he's been not that great, but he started the season off fantastically. But he's starting to get his form back. So I think he got injured and then he just dropped off. So hopefully he'll start to pick up again. My Fortuna Sittard keeper got 5. He played so badly against Zwolle, who I think are relegation candidates. They tend to be near the bottom of the league rather than the top. So that result is quite a shock one. So that's why our Fortuna Sittard team didn't do fantastically well. So that's an interesting result there in the Eredivisie. And then in Contender, we've got a load of games left to play. So hard to tell, but Jesse Lingard got himself on the score sheet. So I love to see it when Jesse's doing well. I did like Jesse when he was at Man United. So good to see him performing well in Korea. But yeah, overall, still got a lot of teams left to play here. 2 of our in-seasons already in rewards, but we might be able to get across the board if Ronivaldo and Anderson play well. And Robin Fellhauer, when he does play, gets really high scores usually, like goals and assists. So potentially we could get 3 across the board there. And then we've not got a lot in the the Classic. I call it non-in-season all the time, the Classic League. And I don't think there's actually, other than this one, if Fidel plays and gets a good score, we'll get something there. But the other 2, we don't have a chance of getting a good score. So we're not getting anything there. And the under 23s, I think we have a fairly good chance here of getting some rewards. Postma getting on the score sheet, which for Groningen, he's one of them ones where I thought he was going to be this amazing striker, and then he's just has not been he does not score, which is kind of frustrating for like the scores, but also just for him as a player. You think, come on, sort it out, mate. And then we've got a whole team here. Rax Saki is playing for Sheffield United, and there's the Sheffield Derby, so it could be a chance for him to make himself a legend for for his team. And then there's a few. Schenk usually plays fairly well, and Merveld does play fairly well as well, but they are playing AZ, which is a hard game for them. So yeah, overall, this week is looking like it's going to be an interesting one, but I'm hoping we're going to stay around the 10, 9, maybe 11 boxes for this week, because that helps with my videos that we've got enough to open and keep it interesting. But then, like I said before, we're now into the internationals. Again, I have the same problem with Champions League that I don't have a, a huge array of cards that play in the internationals. But Ipswich players, there's a lot of Irish and Welsh players who are internationals, so we do have a fair few of them. We've got Sam Smodics. Kyle Walker, I'm not sure if he'll be back for England or not. I know he has been picked, but he might just be on the bench. So it'll be interesting to see because it's all very up in the air now that Tuchel has been announced, and this is the last games before Tuchel takes over. It's a bit like what's the England team going to look like in the future? We don't really know. But we do have the Ireland starter, Kelleher for Liverpool. So hopefully he will do fairly well. And then I've got a couple of players who I'm not sure. Noosa, I think, plays regularly. And then for the same team for Norway, Donham, I'm not sure he plays. So he might be the one that's just sat on the bench and doesn't play. And then, like I said, we've got a bit of like a random mixture. We've got a lot of Irish players popping up. We've got the Japanese keeper, and I think Taniguchi plays right or left back for Japan regularly, so he should be playing. Tielemans, it's saying no games, so I'm going to have to change that before game week 26. I think I've got 2 days to change that. And Digne, I don't know if he plays very regularly for France. I think he's kind of a bench warmer as well, but potentially he could play. And I've seen a no game for Jack Taylor as well, which I think he's injured at the moment, so that's why. So yeah, I think we're just running low. I don't know if we've got enough players to replace them, so I'm not really sure what I'll do with that, but we'll figure it out. And then the under 23s literally don't have enough players to fill that team, and that's it. So a very small 4-team week for the internationals, but like I said, I'll probably play the rivals because it's a lot easier to watch the games and stuff when it's internationals. So maybe we'll get more boxes with the internationals on the rivals games. And then we'll look at the 15th to the 19th next week. So that's it for what's happening next week. So we're going to now jump on to the player to watch. And my player to watch is Denzo Cassius. So he's not a regular starter, but he does come on from the bench like most games at the moment. He's scored 3 goals in his last 5 games, and he plays in defence. He is young. He's only 22. He plays for AZ in the Eredivisie, which is, if you haven't noticed, my kind of preferred league. I do love the Dutch league. So, he's an interesting player. He seems like a young left or right back, I can't remember which at the end of the day, who has burst onto the scene a bit with assists when he first started playing, so you can see this season, and then now getting goals as well. He even scored in the what is this competition? The Europa League. There you go. So he scored in the Europa League, so he's got a European goal under his belt now as well. So he's a fairly good defender, and you can pick him up at the moment for just under £4. So he's not as cheap as some of the other cards I've picked out, but he's still like £4 for like a fairly decent defender. He's young. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the sort of defender that pops up in a few years on the for the national team, because they love an attacking defender like Denzel Dumfries. And sometimes Nathan Aki plays really attacking as well for the national team. So he's the sort of player that you could see. So in my back of my mind, I'm like, in a few years, he could potentially be an international as well. But before that, he is eligible for the under-23s league. So you can either play him for the Eredivisie League, which I think is Challenger, or is it Contender? It's one of those two. Or you could play him in the under-23s if you have a young team set aside. So, and he's consistently scoring in that. So at the moment, worth a shout. So he's my player to watch, and I think he will continue to improve from the looks of it, and he's getting the game time as well to improve, which is great because sometimes these youngsters don't exactly get their opportunity, even though every time they do, they impress. So love to see it. So that's my player to watch, and we're now going to move on to what's in the box.
What's in the box?
Okay, so plenty of boxes to open this week. We've got 18. We're going to start with the 7 we got in Rivals. We actually did a few win 3 in a row. So, and I think, I could be wrong, but I think they give better rewards than some of the other boxes in the like with the daily rewards. So you can do like the daily rewards, like win with a substitute and things like that. But I think the win 3 in a row give you a better rewards. But we just got an arena ticket at the moment. So we're looking for 1 essence. Because once we get the 1 essence, I'm going to do the T4. Boom. So once we've finished doing the Rivals boxes, before we do these the limited boxes, I'm going to do the T... Oh, no, not T4, the T5. Got another essence. T5 essence conversion, because I don't want to have what's it called? I don't want to have too much essence so that it forces me to do a T4, if that makes sense. Because if it doesn't let you pick to do one below what you've got. So I want to do a T5 rather than T4. Does that make sense? Or am I just rambling? We're just getting tickets now. So that's no problem, because I will probably use them this week, because we're doing international break, like I said. So I'm kind of happy to get some of them. But instead of going to the limited boxes, we're just going to quickly jump here. Yeah, so if I think we'll get a fair amount of essence from these boxes, and I don't want to get up to the 50 and then use it all for a T4. So I'm going to use it on a T5 now, and then we'll do the boxes. So let's slide to craft. Leaves us with 1 essence left. And let's reveal what we got. So, France. Defender. I don't recognise that team. I think it's a French team, probably. Okay. Lilian Oralisoa. Not sure how I feel about that one just yet. Let's have a look at him and see if he actually plays. So he plays for Angers in the French league. And he has... Okay, he does play. He comes off the bench. He has had 3 games suspension. Wow, what did he do to be suspended for 3 games? But then came back against PSG and got an assist. So that's not a terrible card. He's not worth a lot. He's worth 48 pence. But that's not a terrible pull for one that you can use in your teams. So, okay, I don't hate that. But it could have been better, couldn't it? But we're going to jump back to do now the limited boxes. All right, so we're back and we're going to do the limited boxes now. We've got 3 star here. Not sure what we will get. 3 essence. Okay, 3 stars. 1 essence for each star. Perfect. I was expecting a little bit more, but oh well. 2 star boxes now. We got a few of these. 5 essence. See, this is what I'm talking about. We're getting quite a lot of essence, and I didn't want to push it up to the 50 and then have to do a T4, because I don't think the rewards are as, like, the jump isn't big enough for it to be worth it. Does that make sense? Okay, we've got some market credit. The thing with market credit is you have to have money to spend it to get it off, which is a little bit annoying. But I get why they do it, but it's just a bit like, I'd rather just have the money to spend rather than, because it gives you like 50% off. So you get like £3.85 is 50% off a card, so you have to pay the other 50%. If that makes sense. But we've got lots of market credit now. A level up, which I never use those. Maybe I should be using them, but I just never use them. I've just got a bunch of them just sat there doing nothing. Another market credit. Flipping heck, we've got so much money. Can't convert it to real money, unfortunately. Some more essence. So actually, we didn't get as much essence as I was thinking we would, but I'm glad we did the conversion when we did. So we only need 5 more to get another conversion. But I think we won't get that now, I doubt, unless we get 5 in this one. Oh my goodness, we got a 10. So now I have to decide if I want to do another essence conversion now or if I wait. I think we'll do another one now because the chances are next week we will get 15 and we'll be able to do another one next week as well. So let's just go for it. It's been a real run of getting new cards this week. We got one for a reward. We got obviously the previous pull. Let's see if we can get anything better from this one. So hopefully this will be better than a French defender who sometimes plays off the bench. We've got a Belgian. Goalkeeper. Goalkeepers aren't too bad if they play. Oh, he never plays. Damn it. I was going to say, I actually collect cards for this team. I just kind of picked a random Belgian team, which I thought was playing all right. So I think I have them in my... Yeah. Cercle Bruges. I've now got 4 cards of theirs, as you can see. So when I say collect, I've got more than one. I'm guessing Warlison is their keeper, or maybe Delachene. I'm not sure. Looks like from the price, it's one of those two. This guy is 21, Belgian keeper. He might play sometimes. Oh, he just never plays, does he? He sits on the bench, but he is... Okay, it was a little bit of a disappointing pull. I'm guessing he's worth 40 pence as well. So we didn't pull anything too amazing this week, but we'll be back and we'll try again and again, sort of thing. But I do think we'll probably be able to do another pull next week, if depending on how we do with the results that we were just talking about. So we're finished with the football, but I thought I'd just quickly jump over to NBA because I have been playing that and they've got a really different way of doing it. So I thought I'd just quickly review it with you guys, see if any of you have been playing NBA, let me know in the comments. But they do a daily hoops. So every day, because of how the NBA games work, they play basically every night. There's like a gap every now and then of like a couple of days. But it's quite intense. They play a lot of games in a short amount of time. And you can collect common cards for free, basically. You get given a bunch to begin with, and then you can win them using this daily hoops common, and then you obviously build it up. And then you can also do swaps, so you can trade in like a card that you don't want, which has a certain amount assigned to it with this swaps amount, like 17, 14. And then you can add any card you want, but obviously it's going to cost depending on how good the player is. So like Anthony Davis and LeBron James, both massive players, 56 and 47 for them. So you're going to have to either get rid of a load of cards or really good cards in order to get them. And then you have to try and build up enough to play the common hoops game. So I'll just quickly set my lineup for because I haven't done that yet. So I usually go off of I use this as like an indicator of who's playing okay at the moment and who will get some game time. So I use most of the time I've built up a team which has players who are playing most games. So what you want to do is try and get a player for each team minimum who has got game time and is getting kind of at least middle scores, and you usually get something from it. So then we lock it in. If you have any limited cards, you can do a daily hoops with limited cards. I have 2 who are eligible. and that's it. So I won't be able to play this week's Daily Hoops. But as well as that, you also have the Pro, and you can do Common Pro, but you can't use the cards you've used in Common in in your Daily Hoops. So once they're used here, they can't be used anywhere else. But you can unlock, like I'm currently in line to get a tier 3 Common card with the ones that I've got. As you can see, you can get a lot better cards than you would in like a limited set. I don't know. You can. I was going to say, I don't know if you can get anything better than any actual limited cards. But yeah, so if you get like I was 5 points away from getting a box. And in the box, you can get essence to get your own limited card. Or I don't know if in the boxes you can get a card as well. I think they've changed it so you can't get cards in the boxes. But I was 65 points away from getting an actual limited card. So you have to get quite a high score in order to get anything like good from the common champions like games. But I have also been I've got a few limited cards, a lot of cheapies, so not expecting to get much. I'm like 100 points off of getting anything with my rewards, but you know, we play it for a little bit of fun. And yeah, so let me know if you've tried out the NBA yet or not. And the limited is a lot, essence is a lot higher. You have to get 50 just to get a T4. So if I do get enough, I'll save it and I'll do it on one of these videos. But yeah, let me know if you've tried out NBA, if you like it or not. I think you do have to be a bit of a fan to play it well, because you need to know who's playing. And I do like myself some NBA. I watched a few games when I can. But being in the UK, they're on really late, so you have to do it for me at a weekend. Otherwise, I'm exhausted for work the next day trying to watch these NBA games. But I actually just noticed we'll end it off. We just got a reward from our Daily Hoops yesterday. So forward for the Bucks, Moron Beauchamp. I don't know anything about the Bucks, so he doesn't really play, does he? So not a great one, but I might be able to trade him in and then use them points to get a better player or something like that. We'll see. So yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you've in the football side, if you've been playing, what cards you've been using, who you liking at the moment, if you got any good results that you're like really pleased with. With the NBA, let me know if you've been giving it a go as well, if you're enjoying it, anything like that. And yeah, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you when I see you.